Hello everyone. I'm in the countryside with my parents and it's a wonderful Sunday morning at the end of September, and I've been thinking about what to read next month, and I actually have something very special going on because I will be going to South Korea and Japan. We'll be spending 1 week in South Korea and then heading over to Fukuoka and spend, I think, at least 3.5 or even 4 weeks in Japan. And we've been planning this trip for a very long time, since September last year, I think, and now it's finally time to take our flight and forget everything in, the rest of our life. Doesn't really matter because we'll just be traveling and enjoying ourselves. And I've been studying Korean, at least a little bit, for a few months as well, so I hope to carry us through with my conversational skills in the week we're spent there. And my husband knows Japanese a bit as well. Let's see how well we'll be doing. I thought that because we'll be traveling to both countries, I would kind of adapt my reading to that. So my reading plans for October are basically twofold. The ones that I'll be reading during my travels, and because we're only flying in the middle of October, the ones that I want to read before we go. So the German October vibes. So for South Korea, I actually chose a book by Han Kang, The Vegetarian. I've read We Do Not Part by Han Kang before. This was one of our book club's reads, maybe in May or June. Which was weird because that book was set in the midst of winter, so it was a bit weird. But anyway, The Vegetarian is not too long. I know that, and I thought I could maybe finish it in a week, or maybe start it a bit before we leave and then continue on when we're really in South Korea. And this book is about a woman who decides to become a vegetarian out of the blue, and the way her family reacts and tries to influence her to stop being a vegetarian. And I think it's somehow very psychologically interesting and also a bit weird, I heard. So I'm looking forward to that. And the second book I chose for our longer trip to Japan is one that I have had on my TBR for maybe a year, and it was recommended to me by Gavin from Gavin Reads It All, and it's called Battle Royale. This is a longer book. I think it's about 600 pages, and I read that is actually the basis, or the groundwork. It was published in 1999. The groundwork for Kill Bill, The Hunger Games, Divergent, anything and everything related to people slaughtering each other in deathly battles, which are instigated by the state, basically. And this is about a group of teenagers, if I'm correct, who have to go to this island and battle each other to the death. And it's supposed to be really suspenseful, horrifying, and you really care for the characters but know that they will have to die. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I thought that, okay, if I have 4 weeks, then I can read a 600-page book, I think, even while traveling. So we have some train journeys we have to take, so I think maybe I will be able to get some reading done during those train rides. But at the same time, I know we will always get up early, so I will want to go to bed late. I will also be struggling with jet lag, so I can't promise I will finish those books or get to reading at all. But I wanted to give myself one option for each country, not more. In the beginning I thought I would maybe have one option per week, so really short books. But I realized that that's just too much pressure. So I give myself one per country, and I think The Vegetarian, maybe I will start a few days earlier. I actually have a flight, so maybe, how long are we flying? I think 16 hours or something. So maybe I will get a huge chunk of that book done during that time. Let's see. I leave myself, some room to juggle what's happening during our travel. I've come a bit deeper into the woods for this next section because I'm just taking a little walk around until I get back to my parents' home and we're going to have breakfast. So for the first phase of October, before we're leaving for South Korea, I thought I would go easy on myself as well because I have lots of preparation to do and stuff to finish up at work. And I've just started a few books that I'm really interested in and that are also very autumnal. So I'm maybe going to venture for one new read, but otherwise I'm going to try to finish the books that I've already started. So those are the brilliant Hunger Stone by Kat Dunn, which I'm now 30 or 40% into, and I'm totally wowed by this book. And I'm so glad I stumbled upon this very spontaneously in my audiobook app, and I'm so glad I picked it up because it's delivering on everything that it's promising. And then I also started my Vampire Plus One yesterday, which is the second book in the standalone interconnected series, which started with My Roommate is a Vampire, which I enjoyed. But this book, the second one, I was drawn into right away. I don't know what happened, but I was like, wow, okay. I started yesterday while I was at my family, so I couldn't read much. But every chapter I started, I flew through and I wanted to continue. I think it's such an intriguing setup. So the baseline, of course, is that it's a fake dating trope. I haven't come to the point where they start the fake dating relationship, but it's kind of been set up so far. But there's also a very intriguing vampire secret society that is hunting one of the main characters, and you still don't know why. And it's somehow really intriguing, and I didn't really expect that. I expected it to be a very light-hearted read, a palate cleanser, but now I'm getting really invested, and I'm so excited to continue. So I know that I'll be continuing this book throughout September. Maybe I won't be taking it into October, but let's see. And then I also have to finish The Turn of the Screw. I have 1 hour left of listening to this audiobook, which I hope to finish in September. And then I also want to prioritize one new read, which is Adrian Young's Spells for Forgetting, because I know this is set in October, and I think it's going to be a good book to prioritize in the first 2 weeks before we take our flight to South Korea. So those are my immediate reading plans, and then if I'm really good and finish all of those books a few days before we leave, I also want to kind of read, what's it called? The newest book by Sandu Mandana, Magical Innkeeping, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I've had this on my list for a long time, and I didn't get to it in September so far. But it's also a newer release, so it's not on my immediate TBR because I have older books that are on that. For example, Spells for Forgetting. And then, oh no, the third book I also really want to read but haven't started yet is the newest release by Richard Osman, the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series, which comes out on the 30th of September, which is in 2 days or 3 days. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. Let's see how many of those books I can get to read. I'm afraid all 3 of them aren't on my audio app as well. If they are on my audio app, then I can, read them or listen to them in like 1.5 speed, and I get through audiobooks faster than physical books. But I'll have to see whether the audio app can deliver. Yeah, so do with this list what you will. Let's see to how many of these books I can get by the end of our preparation time before we take off to South Korea. But I can also continue those when I return in the middle of November, and then see what kind of Christmassy reads I want to read in December. I guess that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I hope this list was somehow inspirational to you. As I told you, I can really somehow, weirdly, I didn't think I would do that, but I can really recommend. I mean, I'm in the 4th chapter or something. My Vampire Plus One. And, of course, the brilliant Hunger Stone by Kat Dunn. So, those are my immediate recommendations and my reading plans for September and October. And I'm so excited for our travels, and I hope I've chosen good books which I can somehow fit into the whole exciting experience of traveling to South Korea and Japan.